Today on DNVR Buffs Live, previewing Colorado's Pro Day. The eyes of the football world will be on Boulder, Colorado tomorrow. Got some news for the team as well. 2 wide receivers who are being highly recruited by the Buffs, a new commit, and a debate between Scotty and I is going to surface on the internet. Let's go.
Squad.
Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It is DNVR Buffs live on this Tuesday or Thursday ahead of tomorrow's Pro Day. I am pumped. How excited are you?
I'm pretty turned, bro. My guy upstairs just told me we are going to be in the epicenter of college football.
That's
tomorrow.
beautifully
All
said.
eyes on Boulder, Colorado tomorrow. ESPN in the building, NFL Network in the building, DNVR in the building. You already know how we rock. It's gonna be a glorious day. I'm looking forward to it.
It is. There's going to be a lot of content coming your way. It's going to be exciting to see a lot of faces, familiar faces that we really haven't seen for quite a while.
Bro, you know what? Actually, somebody asked me yesterday, like, are you going to the Pro Day? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And they made me sad because they were like, wow, the last time the squad's all together.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, you are so right. The last time we get to see, probably, at least on the football setting, Shedeur and Travis and Cam and Shiloh and, the rest of those 16 guys who are competing tomorrow. Probably the last time they're all together, like I said, in the football setting. So we'll be sure to, soak that in.
Shoot, I didn't even think about that.
Crazy, right?
That is crazy. It's going to be fun, though.
Dropped a little man tier, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah?
Little man tier.
I don't blame you, bro.
Little slow dropper.
It's truly like marking the end of an era. Like,
it really is.
We'll say like our final, I guess, goodbyes or whatever on draft night, right? When, they literally go their separate ways that evening. But yeah, for the last time that they're all together, it's going to be bittersweet for sure.
Shout out Goonsville, man. You see us rocking.
Shout out Goonsville, as always.
Squad.
Okay, today on the show. Yes, Scotty and I are going to have a debate.
About to cook this fool. Make sure y'all tap in, man. Make sure y'all stay tuned in.
We've had a back and forth over the last few weeks that hasn't surfaced on the internet.
It's true.
Text messages upstairs right after the show. We've gotten into it. We're going to bring it to the show today, though. We're going to talk about Stanford. They've had a few notable portal entries over the last few days. Is Colorado one of the teams most, how would I word this?
Yeah.
Are they most likely to regress in this year? One list says so.
I was going to say, I'm sure people think so.
We'll get to it. We got a new commit Pro Day preview, but we start today with the 2 wide receivers who Colorado has great interest in. 2 visits already, one very notable one, a player that Buff Nation is very, very familiar with, in Sincere Brown. He's going to be visiting for the spring game. Not only is he going to be visiting for the spring game, that is his last visit of his 3 OVs that he has set.
Oh. Where else he going?
He's going to Cal and UCLA, I believe, are the other 2.
Okay.
Which
I like Colorado's chances in that fight.
I do too, and I've thought the same in many situations with those schools before, but you never know. You just truly never know. And then the second one is former Emory and Henry all-conference wide receiver Cam Abshire. Was a 2024 All-SAC selection at wide receiver. Averaged 20.7 yards per catch last season. Listed at 6'4", 185 pounds. But let's dig into this receiving core because it's clearly the program thinks that they need help at this position.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. We can start with our guy Cam Abshire, transferring in from Emory and Henry, a D2 school, obviously. You mentioned it there. 20.7 yards per catch is crazy on 64 catches, right? You typically see something like Omarion Miller. We say that he's averaged 20 yards a catch, but that's on a relatively small sample size of 10 catches. This past year, I think 10 even in 2023 as well, or 10 or 11. But again, 64 catches for Cam Abshire last year at Emory and Henry. 20.7 yards per catch. This dude is explosive. I posted one highlight of just a quarterback saying, freak it, Cam down there somewhere, launching it 50 yards down the field. Cam tracks the football, makes a nasty move on his safety to score, a long touchdown. It has the swag after. That was kind of the biggest thing to me. I was like, that boy was pointing at the crowd. He gave the Jordan
He's
shrug.
a culture fit.
He's a culture fit. And Cam Abshire would be a great fit. Ali's asking, he's at Emory and Henry, which is a D2 school.
In Virginia, I believe.
In Virginia. And then Sincere Brown this boy is explosive.
Yeah, he posted, he was at USF before.
Yes.
And he was actually there when Zay Weaver and Jimmy Horn were also there.
Speak on it.
And he tweeted out, they did a speed timing thing at USF when they were all three there together. Mm-hmm. He was number one, ahead of Zay and ahead of Jimmy, who we both know they can move. And this guy's listed at what, 6'4"?
I think 6'5".
6'5", 180, 190 some pounds, wiry frame too.
Running that fast?
Sheesh.
Running faster than Jimmy Horn Jr. and Zay Weaver a couple years ago. And you watch the tape, or at least some highlights of Sincere Brown this past year at Campbell. My boy was doing everything. I'm talking about a deep threat. He taking slants 60 yards to the crib. Yeah. And that's kind of the thing that stood out to me on tape. For somebody who's, 6'5", a lot of the times you see them in jump ball situations and, being more of a vertical threat. But this Sincere Brown, to me, at least on tape, is somebody who can run every route in the route tree and make explosive things happen on said routes. So these are two really, really talented guys. And again, it kind of fits the build of going after guys who are coming up a level, who have a lot to prove, who are going to come to Colorado with a chip on their shoulder to prove to everybody, including their teammates and coaches, that they belong at this level. We obviously seen that, a few times. We can name all the HBCU guys who contributed the last couple of years. Tawfiq Byard is trying to do the same thing here this year. I think of Nakai Hill Green. Obviously, he's probably the best example last year after coming up from Charlotte and being a dog, and now he's at Alabama.
Yep.
So I think I really like both of these kids. Both of these guys would be big adds. And to me, they kind of have a similar skill set in terms of...
They do, yes.
6'4", 6'5", deep vertical threats. Think Will Shepherd.
Yep.
Think Will Shepherd role. I think both of these guys would kind of fit that role. And we talk about this too, sometimes how you can kind of tell what a recruiting staff is thinking based on who they target. These two guys in particular seem like outside X receiver, again, Will Shepherd type guys, which to me tells me that they feel really good about the guys inside.
Yes.
The slot position, the Draylon Millers, the Cam Michaels, the Isaiah Harges.
Yep.
That means that they feel really good, I think, about that slot group, that inside receiver group, which is a pretty good sign. But I think that obviously tells you that they want some more help on the perimeter with obviously Omarion Miller coming back from injury. We saw some clips of him today. That boy looked ready.
He does.
That boy looked ready.
Get excited.
It's going to be I like these two targets at the receiver spot at the gate here.
Yeah, you're spot on, bro. And this program has shown that they value that size on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Particularly outside wide receiver, basically since Coach Prime has gone here. They've really targeted big guys. Isaac Tesla, remember in 2022, 2023, who we talked a lot about joining this team. He eventually goes to Arkansas. He fit that same profile. I think exactly like this. Coming up from D2 or FBS, whatever it was.
Yep.
Listed at 6'3", 6'4", 200-some pounds, could run like the wind. They kind of got that in Zay Weaver, obviously not as much size, but then they found Javon Antonio right after that.
Sure did.
Last year with Will Shepherd, as you mentioned, they recruit guys like Quanell Farrakhan, who is going to be eventually in that profile as well. So
100%.
That's clearly what they're targeting is more downfield ability. And it shows that, as much as we've talked about running the ball and a scheme mentality shift this last year, they still want to chuck it. They still want guys on the outside who are, some of the best players on the field, X factors who can change the game with one throw, one play. And that's exactly what you're looking to get here in Sincere Brown and Cam Abshire. Cam Abshire, though, I said he was first team in the SAC. That's the South Atlantic Conference in Division II this last year. He had 51 receptions for 1,057 yards and 13 touchdowns. So the production for these guys at these lower levels is obviously, it's off the chart. They're ready, I think, to go to the next level, it appears. And Colorado, as you said, they've not been afraid to take shots at these guys or take shots on these guys. You know, Zach Adkins being one of them, who's going to be a big part of this year's team. So,
and I think both of these two guys in particular fit the quarterbacks. Because it's different with Shedeur, right, where he is a precision master. And I guess I'm more so talking about Caden, who I expect to be the starter at least week 1.
Right.
He is going to thrive on 50-50 balls, you know, and just giving his guy a chance as opposed to just relying on, you know, pure precision and accuracy. And these guys, Cam and, you know, obviously Sincere Brown, are used to 50-50 going up and get the ball in contested situations. And I think that's going to help Caden Salter, particularly, you know, early on as he kind of gets, you know, acclimated to Power 4 football.
Right. I think the natural thing is a lot of people are going to say, you know, what about Joseph Williams? He's the jump ball guy. I mean, I don't think this necessarily says something bad about Joseph Williams. It's just that they want more depth, right? They've shown that, you know, they value the wide receiver position quite a bit here at Colorado, and they just constantly want to make sure that there's competition. And from number 1 to number 12 on the depth chart.
It shouldn't be too much drop off.
Exactly.
And I think part of it is they're scarred from that Kansas State game.
I think so as well.
You know, having 4 receivers go down where it's like, you know, in the preseason we're like, oh, that receiver room is loaded. You'll never have to worry about injuries. And then one Saturday night, it could happen. 3-4 guys, and you're like, damn.
Yep.
So I think that's part of the process and the thinking here too, that these guys could just at the very least provide some depth for a long football season.
For sure. Let's go to Pro Day. A lot to talk about with this.
Hey, there's...
What?
You said you were going to get into some Stanford stuff later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to do that now?
There is a receiver who entered. Did you see that?
There is. Yep. The big one today. Let's just do it. So Stanford portal entries. The portal is going to start heating up, obviously, here really, really soon. But when Troy Taylor was fired, this is one of the guys I'm pretty sure that we highlighted. Let me double check. Yeah, he was one of their top recruits in the 2024 class, Emmett Mosley the 5th. Yeah. He actually played, I think, quite a bit.
Second on the team
this year. Exactly.
48 catches, 525 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's some pretty good production for a guy as a true freshman. He was a true freshman last year, putting up those numbers. So obviously, we don't know this of yet that Colorado's is in on Emmett Mosley, but
he just entered today.
Right, he just entered literally 2 hours ago. Yep. So that would be somebody that I would think that Colorado would like to target. Again, this is somebody who is 6'2", and again was immediately productive as a true freshman at Stanford.
Right. So I mean, I haven't watched the film. I couldn't tell you guys what his play style is right now, but looking at his profile here, as a recruit, he was listed at 6 foot 175, and these schools always lie on these things, but he's listed now at 6'2", 205. So he's obviously still growing into his body, and he's getting bigger, getting stronger, and he's got the production to match as a true freshman. So this is the type of prospect I think you would want to bet on or at least check out. They've had a few guys, offensive linemen, David Bailey, who is one of their top defensive players this last year, has entered the portal. He did last week, though, but it sounds like it's between Texas and some other school, I think, that he's deciding between. And I think a decision is actually supposed to come sooner rather than later. So he's trying to get that all figured out and done with.
Hey, real quickly, back to Mosley, the receiver.
Yeah.
These are the type of guys that I want to target. And I've brought it up with Joseph Williams, who had a ridiculous month of November to close his freshman season.
Yep.
Emmett Mosley caught 5 touchdowns over his final 3 games last year. Had a 10-catch, 101-yard game in the season finale. Guys who are trending upwards at the end of their freshman season, and that type of stuff typically kind of carries over into a sophomore year. Emmett Mosley would be somebody I would love to see the Buffs get in on.
Spot on. All right, let's take our first break, and then we'll get into Pro Day. Quite a bit to get into today, actually. Shout out to the homies at Fanstake. Fanstake, cool app that is basically giving you $25 to invest in the Buffs.
That's dope.
Just sign up, download the app, and you get a free $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached to stake on a player to either keep on the roster. I mean, the portal's coming up, guys. If you just want to sign up right now, I'd suggest doing that because I think CU is going to be pretty active. And not just active, they're going to try and swing for some of the best players that are going to be available in this transfer portal cycle. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to get some of them, and if Fanstake's going to be a big contributor for why. You can also stake players like Jordan Seaton, Draylon Miller, Omari Miller, key players that we want to keep on this team for quite a while. So download the app right now, get that free $25 credit. Click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or just head to fanstake.com and use promo code DNVR to help keep all those great players and some of those players yet to be named with the Buffs.
And shout out to the squad over at Empire today, man. We got our floors done by Empire. I don't know how long they've been in, but they look like they was just put in yesterday. They look like they still brand new. And Empire, they did a great job for us. They would do the same for you. Just like your favorite team needs a home court advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. And Empire today can help you get that. Empire today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to those big box stores. You wander endless aisles, and somehow you're hauling all these materials home, looking for an installer and coordinating everything yourself. But Empire today, they take care of you. Empire today, they live and breathe flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ball game with Empire. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DNVR. Yes, you heard right. A $350 discount with code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit Empire today/DNVR for full details. I see a couple people asking about the Pro Day. It's tomorrow.
It is tomorrow.
It'll be airing live, at least some parts of it, on NFL Network.
I think you're going to see what you want to see when the NFL Network is live from the Pro Day.
Yep.
12:30.
Yep.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's just start with the headliners. Obviously, this is going to be massive for Shedeur and Travis. They haven't done too much in this draft cycle so far, Shedeur particularly. Travis, honestly, I don't think he needs to do a single thing. He could just show up to Pro Day tomorrow just to talk to scouts and GMs and coaches, and I think it wouldn't affect his draft stock at all. But obviously, a lot of people are going to be tuning in to watch Shedeur throw. First time he's thrown, really, since BYU.
Yeah.
In a public setting. He's going to have all his receivers there, obviously, so those guys are going to get the shine. I'm sure you're going to see the Pro Day throw, the rollout opposite side, chuck it 70 yards down the field, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Just what are you looking for Shedeur tomorrow?
Man, a lot of people are going to ask, like, who has the most to gain? And,
Right.
Who has the most to gain is Shedeur Sanders.
Facts.
Shedeur Sanders. You mentioned one reason. It's that we haven't really seen him throw live since the season ended. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he opted not to throw at the Shrine Bowl and the Combine and the Big 12 Pro Day, which I completely understand. But it's time now to shut some people up. I was listening to Dan Orlovsky earlier today on the Pat McAfee show. I don't know if you saw any of that.
Oh, Lord, what happened now?
And I rock with Dan. I do.
He's been a fan of Shedeur, yes.
For the most part, he has been a fan of Shedeur. But he was on McAfee today, and he goes, Dan Orlovsky says that Shedeur is the hardest evaluation he's had at that position since he's gotten into TV.
Why?
I'll tell you why. His reasoning why. His first reason was the reason that we all always hear. He lacks the physical traits, whatever. But he goes on to say that he said he doesn't know this for a fact, but he says half of Shedeur's throws this past season were at or behind the line of scrimmage.
This is not true. It's just not true. That's crazy.
Like I said, he said he doesn't know if this is a fact, but that's what he goes on to say. So he said you got to throw those throws out. He goes, another quarter of his throws, the protection is so bad that you can't really grade it. So 75% of his throws, according to Dan Orlovsky, you can't really evaluate. So you got a quarter of his pass attempts that you can truly evaluate and kind of see how they can translate to the next level. And that's why I say that Shedeur has the most to gain from this combine or this Pro Day tomorrow. He has to he has to show people that he really does this throwing the football thing. He is the most accurate quarterback in this class. He can throw the football, place the football wherever he wants it. He can throw a catchable pass better than anybody can, I think, in this draft, allowing his receivers to go after, run after the catch. And again, we've seen it. The narrative that Shedeur is sliding, that he might not even be not a top 3 or top 5 pick, but people are saying that he might slide out of the first round of the NFL draft. Shedeur, you got to shut these people up, gang. It's time. Tomorrow is that day. That's what we got to see.
Tell him. There's a lot of weird Shedeur stuff that's been going on the last however long he's been alive, honestly. Yeah. But in particular, the last 2 years and then these last 3 months. Because everyone has to get an opinion on it, especially the off-field stuff, which there is no real off-field stuff like to actually worry about, which is insane. But,
right.
You're right. I mean, he's just got to go out there and do his thing. Like, I fully expect the talk of pro day or after this pro day tomorrow to be, why are the Titans like so solidified with taking Cam Ward at number 1? Like,
are
why
we
are they
sure Cam Ward's the best quarterback?
Yeah, like should we? Shedeur should be in this conversation more, right? Like, and it's stupid that it takes these pro day events for this thing to happen. But this is just how the draft cycle works. And if Travis is out there doing his thing too, catching passes from Shedeur, it's only going to make, themselves look better. And it's going to be a complete show. Everyone's going to watch tomorrow. And they're watching, yes, because they want to learn and find out and they're intrigued. But they kind of know what they're going to see too. It's going to be awesome.
Yes, it is going to be awesome. And I just can't wait, man. Like I said, all the talk, I agree with you. I think after tomorrow it's going to be Shedeur's time in the draft cycle to kind of be the guy. Like maybe we are sleeping on Shedeur Sanders a little bit, and it's time because there was a time where it seemed like he was going to be the number 1 overall pick, and that seems a long time ago. And I think we talk about this with Travis, where it's like I think there's just been too much time from when we've seen them play football.
True.
It's just been too long since we've been able to see Shedeur play football, and you forget, right? You see clips, and you're like, throw that out. But once people see Shedeur back out on the football field tossing that pill around, they're going to wake back up.
For sure. With Travis, I'm not sure what to expect, honestly. Like I said, like he doesn't need to do a single thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would agree with that. But knowing just the mentality that Travis has and how he approaches the game and how he approaches competition, and I'm sure how excited he is to go to the NFL and what he expects out of himself, I would be shocked if Travis doesn't do damn near everything tomorrow.
I mean, I really don't know what to make of it, bro, in terms of what he might do, right? We were talking a little bit about it the other day. Because what is his incentive to do anything?
To just show that, I'm him, basically.
You're right. And we all know that he is, but I hope he does, because I think he has something to gain too, where he could potentially be the number 2 overall pick in this draft to the Cleveland Browns. That's certainly on the table, I think, to me. And that would obviously be dope. But I think Travis, we talked about it too, I think a couple of days ago, somebody brought it up. He has just so much film. You're pretty much watching every game. Yeah. Every snap of every game, because he's playing every snap offensively and defensively.
Was it Dable, I think, that said that?
Or was it a Titans guy? It might have been a Titans guy.
It was one of the NFL teams we were talking about, but yeah.
It's like you have twice as much film on Travis Hunter than probably any other prospect in this draft. So it's like, do we really need to see him run routes and whatnot? But I think he will run routes at the very least. I don't know about a 40 or any other testing stuff, but I think he'll run routes, especially because we're talking about the Browns. Andrew Berry, the Browns GM, has already come out and said that they view Travis Hunter as a receiver first.
Right.
So that might be a bit more, reason for Travis to go out there and run routes and, show his receiver skills.
I think he should do damn near everything, personally.
Yeah.
Again, he doesn't have to do it. Like, I totally understand. Like, I'm not even expecting him to do everything. But I think that if he wanted to, it would just only help him.
It would break the internet, bro.
Like, bro, we already know this guy can jump like higher than damn near everyone on the team. Like, we've seen him dunk, before in the rec center, at the CU Event Center before games.
You know what, G? I just thought about, I really want Travis to do every damn thing. Because I'm tired of hearing folks say that Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are on the same plane.
Dude,
I'm tired of hearing that because it's not true. And I like Abdul Carter. I think he's going to be a good player, like a good NFL player, a good pass rusher, potentially a 10-second year guy. Maybe that could be a ceiling, but he's not Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter's the best player in this draft, hands down. And there's a wide gap between him and the second best player. And the fact that people just keep throwing Travis and Abdul's name just in the same kind of bucket is kind of annoying to me. Yeah, and I think that might change tomorrow, especially with Abdul not participating in his pro day, obviously dealing with some injuries. If Travis goes out here and does his thing tomorrow, I think we'll start to hear his name be mentioned the way it should be.
He could easily clear 40 inches on the vert.
Oh,
he could probably hit damn near close to 12 feet on the broad. He could probably run 4.3.
Yes.
And he's going to catch absolutely everything thrown his way. And then he's going to go, oh, wait, let me go to the other side of the ball and show you how fluid I move backwards as well.
And you know, it's funny, kind of like we have like the quarterback throw, like the combine throw where they do something crazy. Yeah. I feel like Travis has to have something like that with like a catch. Like just throw a jump ball and have bro like do a 360 catch or something crazy. Because we've seen him do some wild stuff pregame, just warming up before games and stuff. So that'd be cool.
For sure. They're obviously the headliners. Next kind of tier below that, I think, is LaJohntay and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Those are two guys who have, they've put in the work, obviously. They've performed at a lot of these events, Shrine Bowl and Combine particularly, and they had good performances at those events.
Yeah.
And that, I think, has solidified them as at least draftable, like day 3 prospects at this point. Do you think like them running in the 4.3s would like push them in the day 2 territory? Is there anything that can push them in the day 2 territory tomorrow?
I don't know, only because this receiver class is so deep, man.
That's true, too.
Y'all know how I feel about LaJohntay Wester if you've been watching this show since I've been on it. I think whatever team drafts LaJohntay Wester is going to get potentially the steal at the draft. Not just the receiver steal of the draft or the late round steal. No, the steal of the draft potentially in LaJohntay Wester, whichever team calls his name. And then Jimmy Horn Jr., he was on NFL Network, I believe, yesterday, telling the boys that he trying to run a low 4.3, and he knows he can run low 4.3. I think he can run low 4.3. So that's what I'm expecting tomorrow. I'm expecting him to fly in the 40. LaJohntay's 4.46 here at the combine. I would just stay with that. I mean, that's a great time for somebody who is a route technician the way LaJohntay is, who is consistently open the way he is. So I think LaJohntay just got to go out there and, much like Shedeur, just be himself. And Jimmy, in addition to going out there and running routes and catching footballs cleanly the way he does, a low 4.3, I think, could really get him back to where we all thought he might be, before the combine.
You're right. I mean, Jimmy can truly benefit, I think, from a strong 40-yard dash. But other than that, I think these guys' stock is kind of set. I think it will add to their stock just having the exposure of this pro day. Yeah. And just seeing them, again, working with Shedeur, like how that chemistry, came about so quickly. I think that's something, too, that, Shedeur and particularly guys like Jimmy and LaJohntay, or I'm sorry, I guess all 3 of them, really, because they're all transfers. Like Shedeur every year had to deal with building new chemistry with guys, and it was damn near instant. With LaJohntay, like that was like seamless. It looks like they've been playing together since they were 12 years old. With Will Shepard, he comes in. They're at Colorado for less than a year, I think it was, right?
Yep.
And they're on the same page right away. Like you're gonna see that at its like almost final form though at tomorrow's pro day, because these guys have played so much football together. They've been around on and off the field, spending so much time together that it's only going to help them. So I'm excited for
That's a good point, bro. And it's something I talked about yesterday. I was on a podcast, Zach Jackson, who covers the Cleveland Browns for The Athletic. I was on his podcast yesterday, and he was asking me about Shedeur, just about what it's like just being up close and, being around him. And that was one of the things I brought up. His ability to relate to his guys, particularly at receiver, and obviously offensive line as well, but particularly at receiver, being able to relate to his guys and help them see the field and the game the same way he does.
Yes, dude.
That's one of his most underrated aspects, I think. Like, you mentioned it. You bring in a LaJohntay and a Will Shepard, and they were immediately on the same page. Yep. You know what I'm saying? From fall camp, even before fall camp. And that's because Shedeur has a real innate ability to, like I said, relate to his guys and help them see what he's seeing on the football field, so they're always on the same page. And we consistently saw that, particularly with LaJohntay. I mean, there was a running stat that I had during the season where like he's caught 40 of his last 41 targets, if you remember that. And it's because they were so consistent and always on the same page. And that has a lot to do with Shedeur and his mental makeup and his ability to relate to his guys and get them all on the same page.
We'll wrap up Pro Day preview on the other side of this break. Shout out to the homies over at
Bet365.
Thank you. Bet365.
Shout out the homies at Bet365, man. Y'all already know that Bet365 is an official partner of DNVR, man. Y'all know it's basketball season. I heard the Nuggets have had a rough couple of games here.
Yeah, brutal.
The Avalanche are obviously in full swing. Playoffs are rapidly approaching, and the Final Four is tipping off this weekend. If you want to get in on the action, Bet365 is the place to do it, especially with their basketball early payout offer. This goes for the NBA and college basketball, the Final Four this weekend. With the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes up by 20 points with an instant payout on straight bets. Instantly, as soon as they go at 20 points, that bird is in your account. Download the app and use code DNVR365 when you sign up. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Use the code DNVR365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
We're going to be in Boulder tomorrow watching all the guys ball out. They're going to be making money, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Coach Prime's big on financial literacy, right?
Surely is.
Not only is he big on making money, but you got to take care of the money. You got to foster that money. You got to make sure it lasts. That's where our friends at Monarch Money come in. They can help everyone. They can help you and I even, Scotty, help manage our money. Not just LaJohntay, Travis, and Shedeur, but seriously, it's one of the best financing apps out there. You can see all your accounts in one place, credit cards, investments, and bank accounts. It just makes it so you can more easily track your money, see exactly where everything is going, see where you can save a few bucks. It's named the Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, and it's the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 five-star reviews. Hit them up. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DNVR at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DNVR. Okay, a couple things to get to before we put on the gloves here, Scotty. Colorado did get a new commit yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday?
That was yesterday.
Yesterday. His name is Hudson Steber, a local kid from Evergreen, Colorado. Looks like in high school he's playing at least both ways, offensive line and defensive line, listed at 6'3", 270 pounds. He plays for Evergreen High School, and he has worked with Matt McChesney at 6-0 Academy as well. I'd assume he says he's a 2025 kid, with obviously that class is come and gone, so I think he's a preferred walk-on type player. We'll see what happens.
Nice.
247, they put up this article a few days ago. College football's 8 teams in danger of 2025 regression.
How many teams?
8.
8?
Some of them make sense. I mean, like SMU, right? Great year.
Oh, yeah.
Made the college football playoff. But can you do it again in the ACC, with Miami, reloading all these schools?
Is their quarterback back? Do you know?
Kevin Jennings is back.
Okay, nice.
But Brashard Smith is gone.
Right.
Iowa State is on the list as well.
I can see that for sure.
Even with all these players coming back, it's just the Big 12.
Yeah.
Indiana's on this list. Makes sense, right?
No doubt.
Duke is on this list. I don't even know what they did last year. But then Colorado is on this list. The blurb.
What they say, yeah.
The blurb says, what is the true expectation level from the Colorado Power Brass after making Deion Sanders the nation's highest paid coach without a national title? Oh, my God.
That's crazy.
His 2-year turnaround with the Buffaloes is impressive, but losing a pair of projected first-rounders, including the Heisman winner, and a few playmakers offensively could lead to a step back in production numbers on that side of the football. Sanders doubled last year's preseason win total, but the projected 6.5 number should be scary for Colorado fans in 2025. That's funny.
That was funny. We talked about it, bro. 6.5, bro. Come on, bro. I'm hammering that over, bro. I mean, let's be for real. I mean, obviously the loss of Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders can't be understated, right? It's a massive loss. Those are massive holes. I mean, we're talking about the Heisman Trophy winner and I think the best quarterback in college football. So we're not going to sit here and act like those two losses are nothing. But I just tend to agree with Coach Prime, who has told his team that he believes this is just a better overall team than it was last year.
Absolutely.
They're deeper. You know what I'm saying? They're more balanced. And I think that's the biggest thing. This offensive line is going to be better. This run game is going to be better. This defense is going to lead the Big 12 in sacks again. And I think this is secondary that is going to be comparable to the secondary we saw out there last year. Mm-hmm. So with all that being said, and you got an electric playmaker at quarterback in Caden Salter. And if he's not end up the guy, you got a 5-star quarterback waiting in the wings. So yeah, I love the over the 6.5. I mean, I think there is going to be maybe some regression from a 9-win team potentially, but yeah, I don't see anything lower than a 7-win season, honestly.
Spot on, Girls Club. See you versus everybody.
Period.
Always. And again, they're not paying attention. Said that
they're
the
not.
last 2 years.
They're not.
They're just not paying attention. They look at Travis and Shedeur leaving, and they just go, "Oh, there's just no way they can talk."
There's no way.
It's crazy. For what it's worth, though, Florida is also on this list. Oregon is also on this list.
They were terrible. Weren't they bad last year?
They went 8-5. 4 straight wins to
Well,
close
that had
out
to
the
have been
season.
a bowl game win. So they finished 7-5. Okay.
Yeah. Oregon's also on this list, as well as Georgia.
A regression from Georgia. Wow, that's interesting. I feel like they weren't even themselves really last year.
Well, you saw the backup quarterback come in and play.
Yeah.
Stockton, right?
Right. Is he supposed to be their guy?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, didn't they bring us? Ain't Rashada there now or something? Right?
No, I think Rashada left again.
Again?
I'm pretty sure.
Didn't he leave Arizona State for Georgia?
Yes, I think he said
and then
that.
he left again?
I don't think it's official yet, but I think he said that he will enter the portal when it opens.
Wow.
Yep. January this came out.
Wow. So he's going to be back in the spring portal?
From what I've seen, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, I got one more thing from 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, what do you got?
Most approved. Did you see this? Most approved in 2025. These college football transfers have the most approved next season, according to Buddy Crawford at 24/7 Sports. Brad Crawford, sorry.
Shout out to Brad. He actually writes a lot of cool stuff. He wrote that article we just talked about too. So.
Which CU player do you think made his list of transfers with the most approved in 2025?
It's got to be Caden, right?
No quarterback.
No quarterback. Interesting.
It's the guy that I'll give you one more guess before I give you a hint.
Jaheim Otis then.
Jaheim Otis, the guy that the entire pretty much national football media seems to universally love on Colorado's roster is Jaheim Otis.
Yep.
He made the cut there. A lot to prove. Coming from Alabama.
I mean, I kind of get it. Like, what happened last year? Like, is that like the start of a downfall, or is that just like a blip on the radar? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Makes sense.
I get it too.
I believe in him, though. I think he's going to be a monster.
Same.
Any other Big 12 players on there?
No Big 12 players.
So Brad's saying that Jaheim Otis has the most approved out of any Big 12 player then.
Yep. Somebody did point out in the comments that 9 of the 10 guys on the list have SEC connections. Either leaving a SEC school or going to one.
Yeah.
But
it is what it is. All right, Scotty, let's get into it.
One more thing, actually.
Okay.
Pro Football Focus.
Oh, bro.
Put out a list of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL draft. If everyone was eligible.
So just in college.
In college. If you're a college quarterback, you're eligible for this top 10 quarterback prospects list. At number 1, they got Arch Manning.
Okay.
They had Arch Manning in them. And I got something to say about Arch Manning.
I would not blame you one bit.
Arch Manning is who people think Shedeur Sanders is. All hype and no substance.
Wow.
How many games have we seen Arch Manning play from start to finish?
To finish.
We can probably count on one hand, correct?
Probably it's whatever Quinn just missed, like, completely then.
And people are talking about him as the number one quarterback prospect if everyone in college football is eligible. How? I'll tell you how. Because his last name is Manning. Much like people like to say Shedeur is where he is in life because his last name is Sanders. Yep. Arch Manning, who, like I said, has played games that I can count on one hand. He's the number one prospect according to Pro Football Focus.
Do you know how many passes he's thrown in college?
24.
95. So more than you thought, but still.
But still, like, come on, bro.
Yes.
And this is another guy in Arch Manning who people are saying in draft circles, oh, if you don't got a quarterback, just tank for Arch in 2026.
Right, like it's a sure thing.
Why would you say that if we don't even know if bro is good or can play? Like, don't get me wrong, the limited action we see, he looked like he can play.
Yes.
I'm not going to sit here and act like he weak because he's not. But we just don't know anything about him, or at least enough about him to act like he is the best quarterback prospect in college football right now.
I agree with you. I will throw out, though, he was a very highly rated recruit.
I mean,
very
no doubt.
Rated.
But again, I think part of that is because of the last name.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, and Shedeur obviously didn't get that benefactor. He was only a 4-star.
Exactly, bro. So, it is what it is. I just wanted to get that off. Arch Manning is who people think Shedeur Sanders is.
Yep, I don't blame you. He's got a lot to prove this season, but we'll get to find out. He's going to have a hell of a team, too. So,
of course. You want to fight, bro?
Are you ready? You ready for this? All right. I don't even know how to introduce this, really. Basically, this just involves one team and one player.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this on air, but we haven't. This debate has hit a different level the last few weeks, hasn't it?
Because it's heating up, bro. It's getting close. We're,
up.
what, 3 weeks? I think exactly 3 weeks. Yeah, exactly 3 weeks from the draft.
Damn, that's crazy.
21 days.
So you obviously see the Browns as like the ideal fit for Shedeur Sanders, right?
No.
Okay, then explain yourself.
I think that is the most likely landing spot for Shedeur Sanders.
Thank you.
The Cleveland Browns. And I'll tell you why. We'll get into it.
But you really like it,
but
too,
I do like the fit. I do think the Giants fit is a little bit better.
You love it.
Didn't you hear what I just said? I said I like no words, Momo. I said I like the fit. I do think the Giants fit is a bit better. Okay. But that created a little bit to me with the additions they made in the quarterback room. I don't want Shedeur in the quarterback room with Jameis and Russell Wilson and Tommy DeVito. One of them.
Why not, though?
One of Russ or Jameis, cool. Both of them, no. Because both of those guys are going to try to start right away. They're going there to try to start.
And
there's going to be a lot of weird energy. I'm more so speaking on Russ. Because I believe Jameis to be a great guy, a great teammate, and a great friend of Shedeur Sanders. But him plus Russ in that quarterback room, I think it would just be too much.
Okay, I can see what you're saying. I don't think Russ was given enough money that he's guaranteed to be on this roster, though, after training camp.
I hear you on that, but I think the money he got is just what the market dictated.
Yeah.
I don't think that there is anything really to say about his future on the team. He's going to be on this team this year, the entire year.
I think we'll see. Like, if they do take Shedeur and he just completely balls out, literally, what is the use for Russ? We saw that Jameis is literally an elite backup quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
What is the use for Russ at that point, honestly?
And that's why I just don't think – I think that the Giants made those two moves because they don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to be on the board at number 3 when they pick. Because I think
go ahead, sorry.
Because I think the Cleveland Browns are going to take him.
Okay.
And this is why. A few different reasons. The first reason why is, and I talked to you a couple about these. Mm-hmm. Shedeur was down in Texas for the Shrine Bowl, which you were also at.
Yes.
Back in February? That was February, right?
Late January, but yeah.
Exactly, late January. Shedeur met with the Browns down there in the Shrine Bowl.
Right.
4 days later, the Browns hire a quarterback coach named Bill Musgrave.
Yep.
who is former teammates with Deion Sanders.
Let Billy play.
Deion Sanders is on record saying that his favorite Super Bowl memory is him telling the Niners head coach at the time to put Billy in the game. Who was the backup quarterback for Steve Young, obviously at the time. So Bill Musgrave, that guy who Deion Sanders has a lot of love for, and I'm sure Shedeur does too, that guy is now the Cleveland Browns quarterback coach.
Okay.
I'll leave that there.
All right.
The Cleveland Browns head coach, Kevin Stefanski, used to be Pat Shurmur's quarterback coach when Pat Shurmur was the offensive coordinator in Minnesota a handful of years ago. And we know, I don't know if there's any guy who has been more publicly in love, so to speak, with Shedeur Sanders than Pat Shurmur.
Sure.
So I'm sure Kevin Stefanski asks his old buddy, yo, Pat, what do you think of Shedeur, the guy that you coached the last 2 years? And we can guess what Shedeur probably told Stefanski. So that's two things right there. Let's look at the quarterbacks that Kevin Stefanski has had success with in the NFL as a coach. We're talking about Kirk Cousins. We're talking about Case Keenum, who had his best year in the NFL. We're talking about Joe Flacco, who led Kevin Stefanski's Browns to the playoffs just 2 seasons ago, y'all. I know I like to forget, but the Browns were in the playoffs with Joe Flacco as their quarterback the season before this one that just ended.
Okay.
All those quarterbacks that I just mentioned have a similar play style to Shedeur Sanders, where they're pocket passers who can deliver the football, stand in the pocket, take hits, and just be a pure processor from the quarterback spot. And then you get the Myles Garrett situation. Bro was axed out of Cleveland. He said, bro, I'm not coming back here, bro. I'm gone. And yes, he was given quite a bit of money.
He was given a ton of
to be enticed to stay. But I think he would have got that money close to it from just about anybody who wanted him.
Fair, sure.
I think part of the reason Myles Garrett is returning to Cleveland is because he was informed by the powers that be in Cleveland that we're probably going to take somebody at number 2 at the quarterback spot who can maybe change things around. And I think Myles Garrett is the type of guy who would be like, I want to play with Shedeur Sanders on his team because I've seen what he's done the last couple of years in terms of turning programs around at Jackson State and at Colorado. Okay. And then you get Joe Bitonio, the multiple-time All-Pro guard, who everybody thought after this season he was going to walk away from the game and retire. A couple weeks ago, he says, I'm coming back for one more year. And that makes me think you only come back, a guy like him who, again, is maybe a future Hall of Famer, but it's certainly one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. He's saying, no, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back for one more year. And I think it's because he knows there's going to be something special going on at the quarterback spot this year.
Okay.
And then we got to think about the fact that look at the quarterback room now. Who are the Browns quarterbacks right now, y'all?
Who are the Browns quarterbacks, Scott?
Kenny Pickett.
Who's the other one?
And Deshaun Watson, who is never going to play in the NFL again. He's never going to play. The guy, Deshaun Watson, who Browns owner Jimmy Haslam said that we took a big swing and a miss on. We missed on Deshaun Watson. We got to move on. For all those reasons,
it's just super easy to move on, huh?
I've probably been cooking for a minute. People are saying that I'm making some interesting points. I'll leave it at that. I think Shedeur Sanders, for all those reasons that I just laid out to y'all, I think he's going to be taken with the number 2 overall pick and be a Cleveland Brown. Talk to me, Jake. What's up?
The Cleveland Browns are not going to draft a quarterback, and I'll tell you why. And it's the reason that you mentioned last and left out the biggest detail on. And that is Deshaun Watson and his contract.
Yeah.
His record-setting, 100% guaranteed $230 million contract. The Browns obviously need a quarterback.
Yes, they do.
They could, sure, if you want to take Shedeur, like, fine. Like, what you just said, fit-wise, football-wise.
Football-wise, for sure.
100% makes sense. But from a team building, general managing, ownership standpoint, it does not make sense for them to take a quarterback. In 2025, Deshaun Watson probably not going to play a single snap. Probably not going to dress in uniform.
Nope.
He's going to get paid a cap number of $35.9 million.
See, I thought it would be a lot higher than that.
Next year, his cap number is $80.7 million.
Yep.
One of the biggest advantages you can have in the NFL is a quarterback on a rookie contract.
Right.
Because of the relief that gives you in the cap to go attack free agency with a rookie quarterback who is good, to surround him with players who you can technically overpay to get them to come to your team to make a run in those 4 to 5 years. If the Browns take Shedeur Sanders, they will have that rookie contract, but they'll have this record-setting, unprecedented, insane dead cap hits from Deshaun Watson through 2029. Shedeur, if he gets drafted, that will be his last year if they accept the 5th-year option on his contract. It makes no football sense to draft a quarterback, and if you get this advantage that is the rookie pay scale, but then you have to maneuver around the cap number, which, again, 100% guaranteed. Even if they cut Deshaun Watson.
Which they will. He will be cut in 2026.
I 100% agree. Yeah. And they will probably restructure it, rearrange
They already
the money.
have, by the way. And a couple people have mentioned that they have restructured Watson's deal to where it's not the deal that they signed him to, that they're going to be on the hook for the next 5 years.
They have void years. You guaranteed 100% of the money, though. That does not go away.
No, I hear you.
That does not go away.
Yep.
So while you can move stuff around and make numbers better, and that $80 million number for 2026 can probably be fixed and moved around, you still have to pay all this money. So my question and my reasoning why I don't think the Browns will draft Shedeur is it doesn't make sense. Like, why not take a guy like Abdul Carter or even Travis Hunter, build the pieces, keep on pushing yourself another year further away from this contract, and then when you don't have to pay damn near $180 million, which is the meat of this contract left, you can actually build a team around your rookie quarterback. That is my argument.
And I vehemently disagree. Like Dave says there, if you can just scroll just a little bit, Alyssa, Dave goes, and this is one of my biggest points, the way out of the Deshaun Watson mess is to get a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal where you don't have to pay him a lot of money, but you can still win football games because there are good players on this roster.
So then what are you going to do next year then?
You're going to cut Deshaun Watson. You're still going to have to pay the guaranteed money that you're on the hook for.
In free agency then.
Bro, I think, again,
the Browns hardly participated in free agency this year.
That is true, but they still were able to make moves.
Yes, but they haven't hit the meat of this cap hit.
Bro, and I get that. I get that. But again, I'm just saying the money, the Deshaun Watson thing, this is the only way out. They dug themselves a hole and they have to find a way out. This is the way out. Your suggestion to me is just kicking the can down the road and being.
It's not kicking the can down the road.
I think it is because you're basically punting on these next 2 seasons is what you think they should do.
Because they already punted on them when they signed Deshaun Watson to a record-breaking 100% guaranteed contract.
I get that, but you got to also think about the thinking behind the Deshaun Watson trade that they made. They were a playoff team with Baker Mayfield.
No, 100%.
And they thought we need to get better at the quarterback position.
Sure.
They made the wrong decision with Deshaun Watson. But the thinking was we have to get better at this position.
Yes.
And they airballed.
Right.
I don't think they're just going to be like, well, we're done trying at quarterback now. No. Especially when you got the number 2 overall pick. You're talking about them not getting a quarterback at all.
No.
And just running with Kenny. No. That's what you said.
I'm saying taking one at 2nd overall, in particular, Shedeur Sanders. That's why I think if they wanted to take a quarterback, you'd take a Tyler Shuck, a Jalen Milroe day 2, because if they do pop, it's an even better deal. One, it's not as much on constraints contract wise. You don't have a 5th-year option that's going to be damn near market value either.
Let me ask you this: what's the best case scenario for the Browns in this draft? Wouldn't you say that the best case scenario for the Browns in this draft is them to take Shedeur at number 2 and him to be who we think he is? Isn't that not the best case scenario for the Browns organization?
Yeah.
You got to take that swing. If you're at number 2 overall, you have to take that swing.
I get it, but if you look long term, it's just, what's the point?
If you look long term, and this is, again, we're not expecting maybe the best case scenario with Shedeur, but if Shedeur is who we think he is, all that other shit don't matter.
Yes, it does, because if Shedeur is who we think it is, after this cap clears, you're going to have to sign Shedeur to
in 3 years.
3
probably.
or 4 or 5 years,
right,
whatever
even
it is.
longer than 3, right.
But you're still taking Deshaun Watson dead cap, and you're just going to put yourself back in this situation. Yes, you won't have a player that's giving you literally nothing for an outrageous cap hit, but you're just going to go back to, we have to build around this massive contract now, where the advantage of drafting a player at the top of the draft is to have this cap relief from a quarterback who is performing at a top level.
That's ideally what you want, but the Browns aren't in a situation. They're not going to get no cap relief.
No,
but
of course not.
But the only path to salvation from this Deshaun Watson debacle is to get a quarterback and have him perform on a rookie deal. It's the only way.
But as a GM and an owner, you already see 2-3 years down the line what the limitations of your roster are going to be, even if you nail this pick and Shedeur is a top 2 best quarterback in the NFL.
And also, I think if the Giants were in this situation at number 2 and it was their roster, I would be with you with the Deshaun thing because I don't think that roster is anywhere close to competing. This Browns roster is close to competing. Again, I remind y'all, they were in the playoffs the year before this one with Joe Flacco.
Yes.
In the playoffs. Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time coach of the year.
Yeah.
One of the best play callers in the NFL.
Again, football-wise, it makes sense.
You added Shedeur Sanders. Right. So what else are we talking about, bro? if it makes sense
the whole
football-wise.
point of it arguing the money.
But the money, bro, the money just doesn't. The money will take care of itself. They bit off more than they can chew with this. They're going to have to. They know what they got to do with Deshaun money moving forward.
All right.
But the only way to fix it is to get 2 in. And I think that's what they're going to end up doing. If I'm wrong, I'm going to have to own it, and I'm going to be sad as hell, too. I ain't going to lie. But that's where I'm at with it.
To all the people in the chat saying I'm only focused on money, how do you think the NFL works, honestly? It's a cap league.
Bro, Jake, I think part of the reason people were saying that is because you're the one always saying that the cap isn't real and the cap doesn't exist and it goes up every year. That's your thing, bro.
This is the record-breaking 100% guaranteed contract. I agree with that.
And I have to bring up the fact that your Broncos had a similar situation with Russell Wilson.
100% guaranteed for $200 million.
But at the time, it was the most guaranteed money ever, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was a big deal, and people at the time were saying that the Broncos have no way out of this. For at least they're gonna the next 3 to 4 years while they're paying Russell Wilson, they're not gonna have any path out. What did they do? They draft Bo Nix in the first round.
I know what my team did,
and they're back in the playoffs. So that's why I'm so confused as to why you don't see this working out.
Because look at the Broncos roster limitations right now. They have no premier skill players,
and yet they still made the playoffs.
Yes, that's the ceiling.
And yet they have another draft here to get good players, right?
Exactly. And the cap hit's gone now. They spent this free agency.
We'll see, bro.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see. Chat, let us know something. I think we know who win out the game, but drop a comment. You team Jake, team Scott. Let us know something.
Chat, I literally don't care. Let's go to the chat.
Oh, man.
Northside. How do schools miss out on players that be in the FCS?
Ooh, that makes me think of something.
Tell him, Scotty.
That makes me think of something. Did you see this? Kind of along these lines. Jake, I think you saw. Hold on, let me pull it. Let me find it. Grambling's head football coach on the transfer portal an interesting solution. He says there needs to be a buyout. Mm-hmm. If a player moves up from group of 5
great idea
to the power 4, he says the lower school should get a compensation for that. 100,000, 200,000 or something like that. Right? It's just like
and it should be the school taking the player that has to pay that.
Yes. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So yeah. I don't even exactly remember what the question was, but I think that's a great idea though, because it's happening every year, every cycle. And the Colorado is guilty of it as well. We were just talking about a couple guys who are maybe going to be coming up from a Campbell and even D2. So I think that's a great idea from, again, Grambling head coach Mickey Joseph.
Thank you, Wayne.
That's crazy. You talking about thank you on that? Wow, let's go. Hey, Wayne, I know that ain't the meatloafer trying to call me financially illiterate. You damn meatloafer. Chill out, Wayne.
Rue with the super chat. Look who won the Big 12 this year. It's possible to win this conference without 2 top 10 picks on the roster. Overall team will be better. 100% facts.
That's a fire comment.
Thank you for the super chat. Wilson, the Ghost, says Broncos didn't wait to get their rookie quarterback even though they had a massive cap hit. Browns won't wait either.
Thank you, Wilson. Thank you, Wilson.
The Broncos literally took Bo and they had 1 year of dead cap hit from Russ. It's gone now. If the Browns take Shedeur, they have 4 more years of dead cap.
Just in time for Shedeur's first real contract to kick in.
Yeah, they're really... Okay, take Patrick Mahomes. If you took $30 million a year away from their cap hit, which they already couldn't sign Tyreek Hill because of his deal.
I think they just didn't want to. They chose not to. I don't think they couldn't have paid him. I think they chose not to.
Either way, they just traded the guy to the Bears. One of the best guards in the league.
Well, that's because they have the highest paid center and the highest paid tackle in the league. I don't think you can have a highest paid guard. I mean, yeah. I just don't see the correlation between the Chiefs here. I'm not going to
Jake just don't want Shedeur in Cleveland. I don't want Shedeur in Cleveland.
That is really the crux of this, not you. And that's why I'm trying to just help Buff Nation. I'm trying to get y'all ready for what this could potentially be as a reality. You know what I'm saying? I don't want. I just think it's a plausibility, and I think you're you're a bit blinded by your Broncos love that you hate the Browns.
Oh my god.
It's okay, bro. I get it, bro.
Literally just
I get it, bro.
Looking at it from like a team building perspective. Like I'm looking beyond this year. Like sorry about that.
Now you an accountant. That's crazy.
Insane. Well, Chad enjoyed that.
I thought that was fire, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow. Late.
Yeah.
What time?
What time?
I don't know. What time?
I don't know. Whenever we're done with everything, we'll be live here from the studio. So they said till 3 or 4.
Yeah, like 4:30. I think it's supposed to go till.
Yeah, I don't know. We got to drive back from Boulder, so we'll figure it out. But stay tuned. See you tomorrow. It's gonna be fun. Let's go Buffs.